So, today we're gonna talk about some things. Well, we are on Reddit once again, and it is Thursday, the 11th of March 2021, quite a quarter before 10 p.m. This week I've been feeling really good, probably because of me sleeping enough and also me eating enough. Which, as dumb and as strange as it might sound, was an issue for me. I wasn't sleeping enough, and I really had a lot of times in my life where I really did not sleep enough. And on the other hand, I also wasn't eating enough, which is definitely something you can feel. And if you're kind of having it in your mind, and if you know about calories, and if you know about stuff, and if you know about food, and if you know about those things, then, well, you might come to a point where you're shivering and you're cold and you can't fucking sleep because you're not sleeping enough. No, you're not eating enough. And this is not a great place to be in. It is actually a really shitty place to be in. If you can't sleep just because you're so amazingly hungry. And it is definitely something that I would suggest not to do. I would rather decide and or choose to be hungry during the day than when I'm about to sleep. And I would even say that back in the days and back in some periods of time where I've been really able to get into good shape in terms of quite being shredded and stuff. I was eating the biggest meal in the evening. Maybe this is kind of a secret, something to do. Well, anyway, be prepared to say that it is nothing to you. The Enchiridion by Epictetus, the first quote or passage or whatever. Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and in one word, whatever are not our own actions. Things in our control are by nature free, unrestrained, unhindered, but those not in our control are weak, slavish, restrained, belonging to others. Remember then that if you suppose that things which are slavish by nature are also free, and that what belongs to others is your own, then you will be hindered. You will lament and you will be disturbed, and you will find fault both with God and man. But if you suppose that only to be your own which is your own, and what belongs to others such as it really is, then no one will ever compel you or restrain you. Further, you will find fault with no one or accuse no one. You will do nothing against your will, no one will hurt you. You will have no enemies, and you will not be harmed. Aiming therefore at such great things, remember that you must not allow yourself to be carried, even with a slight tendency, towards the attainment of lesser things. Instead, you must entirely quit some things and for the present postpone the rest. But if you would both have these great things along with power and riches, then you will not gain even the latter, because you aim at the former too. But you will absolutely fail of the former, by which alone happiness and freedom are achieved. Work, therefore, to be able to say to every harsh appearance, you are but an appearance, and not absolutely the thing you appear to be. And then examine it by those rules which you have, and first and chiefly by this, whether it concerns the things which are in our own control or those which are not. And if it concerns anything not in our control, be prepared to say that it is nothing to you. As so many things, by the way. There's so many things we can't control that we are not able to influence fully. Of course, there's actually a pretty huge amount of stuff we can kind of indirectly influence, and I would also consider our body and therefore health to be influenced by us to quite some degree, to be honest. But it always depends on how you think about things, and it always depends on your definition of things and whatnot. So maybe Epictetus, by writing this, meant something else by body. And also reputation, because, if you're an asshole, then of course your reputation is going to be quite bad. But on the other hand, if you're a good person, then your reputation might not be that bad. Of course, in the end, you can't really decide, because people are always going to think about things in a different way and always going to see things in a different way than you are doing it. And also it is quite a difficult task to maybe find satisfaction in, if you know what I mean. I find this passage to be one of the most meaningful and poignant descriptions of foundational Stoic principles. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna read the whole one because I don't necessarily think that it is worth. Failure is the only high road to success, yet we don't embrace people who failed a lot as much as we do embrace people who succeed easily with never failing. We should embrace failing and stop seeing it as something to be ashamed of, and stop seeing people who failed a lot until they make it or made it as weak. I wouldn't say that anybody's doing that. If in the end you made it, quote unquote, then there's nothing to be complaining about, and nobody even does. A lot of really successful people, Elon Musk, he failed as well. Jeff Bezos, he failed as well. But in the end, they did it. In the end, they were able to do something, they were able to succeed, and therefore they're also being quote unquote praised, or they're put on a pedestal or whatever, Anyway. And instead see them as strong people who never gave up, and as a source of inspiration. We should show them love instead of mock them. All this attitude against failing just makes us fear more of fails and fear more from making a step toward our goals. Well, there's something that's called, is it called fail setting? I don't remember. It is something that Tim Ferriss, well, I don't want to say invented, but brought to an big audience by giving a TED talk. And fear setting. Have I said it before? Actually, I think it is fear setting. Anyway, it is basically, as far as I can remember, at least, it is like, okay, when I do this and that and these and those, what is the worst outcome that can happen? But also, on the other hand, you should consider the best outcome of this to happen. And so if you totally can see that the worst thing that can happen is really detrimental and is maybe even fail, then maybe, no matter how good the best possible outcome might be, it is not worth pursuing, because the chance is there that they fucking die, and so it doesn't make too much sense. On the other hand, if it is a task that clearly shows that the downsides are really insignificant, but the upsides are tremendously big, then why the fuck shouldn't you be doing it? Why the fuck would it make sense to pass that opportunity or pass that activity or whatever it might be? It just clearly makes sense. It is something logical, maybe analytical or whatnot, but it just makes sense. Why wouldn't you? Or why would anybody? Unless there is some, if it is like 50-50, like, okay, the outcomes are pretty bad, and also the possible good outcomes are pretty good, but also the possible bad outcomes are pretty bad, and it is, or feels like 50-50, then of course it is a very difficult decision to make. Obviously, it depends on what it is all about, but yeah, Finally ended friendship with my best friend, 17 and male. March 10th, 2021 is the date I ended my friendship with my best friend after I got to see his true colors. He was my best friend for over 2 years, which is or might not be the longest time. So it started around mid-October when I saw him being actually jealous of me. He would just randomly go through my following and just send requests to the girls I was friends with, and after a few days or weeks of talking with them, he would brainwash the girls how big of a jerk I was. He tried convincing so many people the same and most of them fell into this trap, or his trap. I'm no simp, but I do respect girls, and he's out calling his girlfriend some stuff. I actually don't know. He wouldn't stop brainwashing and talking shit about me till the person unfollowed and removed me from Snapchat. My one close friend contacted me telling me how he tried brainwashing her as well, but she kind of had faith in me, so she let me know. After this brainwashing thing, I had lost over tens of friends, and he slowly tried to figure it out that I knew what he was up to. I still acted like I didn't know what did he do, but told him to meet him in person just to fuck him up, but every time he refused. I tried calling him yesterday, but he rejected my phone call, and something struck me as I shouldn't let this continue and ended my friendship. I'm sure he did the same months ago. Sometimes the people closest are the people your parents say you should stay away from. I've got to find a new friend circle, which is difficult with a destroyed image. I thank this universe for letting me know this life lesson at a young age so that I don't make a mistake of opening myself to such an extent to any other person. Pretty bad, quote-unquote, advice or thing to do. That I don't make a mistake of opening myself to such an extent to any person, which basically means is I'm, reading it or understanding correctly, like, okay, I'm not gonna open myself up to anybody anymore. Not a good idea. Of course, we're all gonna meet some people that we dislike, and we're all gonna meet some pretty toxic people, The problem is when those toxic people are pretty close to you, when it is family and close friends, but I think especially family, then it is a fucked up thing. When it is your mother or your dad or anybody else that you're, pretty close to, it obviously is not really something amazing to having to deal with. And it's not easy. It really is not. It's actually pretty tough and hard to maybe, restrict time with these people and maybe, cut them out of your life completely. But I wouldn't be so quote-unquote negative as well. Yes, one had this bad relationship, friendship, whatever, but it is fine. And things are gonna be better. And yeah. I wouldn't always see things so I don't want to say black and white, but so incredibly influencing. Like, of course it's been your best friend, and of course it is detrimental, and of course it fucks with one for quite some time, but I don't know, it's like, yeah, why? What's the benefit of, letting this fuck you and destroy you? Image, Steve O celebrating 13 years of sobriety today. Well, he's drinking some smoothie and having some broccoli in front of him. And is it some cheese? Not cheese, but some cake. No, I think it's carrots. A bunch of different carrots. Yellow ones, orange ones, red ones, and so on, which is the right picture from 2021. And there's a 26 picture with a cigarette in his left and a spray. What is it called? I don't know. Fuck. It's whipped cream. Yeah, a sprayed whipped cream sprayer thing with a ton of, is it NO2? N2? I think it is N2. So CO2 being carbon dioxide, and this one being, I don't know the English name, but I know that it is N2 as far as I remember. Or no, is it? Nah, it's not. It's the thing I think that you also put into balloons. Helium? Might be helium. He might be just also taking helium for whatever reason. Yeah, it's actually making you high apparently. I think it was helium. I'm actually not quite sure. Anyway, very amazing. I appreciate everybody that is able to get into sobriety and stay away from shit and actually have a healthy life. I mean, it's never too late. Well, yeah, it's never too late to start. Let's put it like that. Even though, I mean, if you're 99 and you're just, yeah, anyway, you know what I mean. Gonna see you next time. Please stay safe and healthy, and hopefully going to be able to talk to you tomorrow. And well, up to then, bye bye.